Hey everybody, it's Alan Brochstein coming to you from Houston, Texas. I run New Cannabis Ventures and 420 Investor, and I'm here today to talk to you about the cannabis market. And I'm a guy that really does love cannabis stocks, but I can't tell you that they're going to go up anytime soon. I also can't tell you they're going to keep going down, but they are down a lot. I'll talk more about that in a moment. This past week, the only big news to come out was Michigan cannabis sales, and they soared. They set a record, and they grew 6% sequentially from May. That's an 8.7% per day increase, if I'm doing my math right. And they grew, I think, 39% from a year ago. So that market has been seeing falling prices for flower. It's been seeing some problems, but it's doing very well, unlike most markets in America. I distributed at Seeking Alpha this week a piece called Curaleaf is a sell after the rally. It dropped 7% this week. It wasn't a bad call. The whole market did fall a little bit, as I'll talk in a moment, but not like Curaleaf. Of course, it ran up big the week before, and this is an example of what I am trying to do. I know cannabis stocks. Do I know the exact future? No, nobody does. But I know cannabis stocks, and if I see something that looks weird to a guy that's been following it closely for 10 plus years, I'm going to celebrate my 10th anniversary of 420 Investor, which is now at Seeking Alpha instead of Badzinga, soon. I think I want to say in September. It might be August. September, mid-September. So I do cover 27 stocks for my subscribers at Seeking Alpha's 420 Investor. And there was some news this week. Get ready for a lot of news, not in the upcoming week. I'll talk about that in a moment. But it starts really the first week of August. The second week is really going to be busy. But this week, I made a mistake. Okay. I was going to say this week, Air refinances Florida mortgage. Wait, maybe that is? No. That's a mistake. All these are wrong. Sorry. Hang on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I've fixed the error from last night, and the piece that this whole talk is based upon is now correct. So this week, it was a lot of the same companies as the prior week. So Air Wellness expanded in Ohio. Remember, this has been a company that's been contracting. They didn't close a deal in Illinois, and they exited Arizona, but they've expanded in Ohio with a pending purchase of a dispensary. And then Canopy Growth was big, and I can tell you that in tomorrow's newsletter at New Cannabis Ventures, I write about it. And I encourage you to read it if you want to know what I think. But this week, the stock crashed to a new all-time low, and I'm not surprised. And Canopy Growth announced a pending debt reduction. This was their convertible debt that's due soon. And they're going to be paying cash, a lot of cash. They're going to be issuing shares, a lot of shares. And they're also issuing a convertible note with a conversion price of or that's Canadian, 55 cents, which was below where it was trading when the announcement came out. And the stock plunged 40% to an all-time low, not that much below the prior low, which was right around the end of June, if not the last day of June. Curaleaf rebranded its Select brand nationally. Remember, this was a stupid acquisition, if you ask me. They bought Select a few years ago. They issued a lot of stock that's been coming out over time to becoming unlocked over time. And they rebranded that. Remember, they exited Oregon and California. So that's where Select was. But they got the brand and they've rebranded it nationally. And they also launched a new app nationally. Green Lane announced a new ice compact water pipe. It's called the Glacier. Organigram, which I wrote about at New Cannabis Ventures last weekend, and it did very well during the week. It crashed yesterday on their earnings report, and their revenue was down 17% sequentially. It was supposed to be down a little, not that much. And there was also a huge write-down in its assets. And we're not talking about goodwill and intangibles. We're talking about hard assets. So its intangible book value fell a lot. I remain very bullish on Organigram, and you can read the piece that this is based upon, and you'll see I sold some Organigram during the week in my model portfolio, and I loaded up yesterday at the lower price. SHF Holdings began paying interest on some of their deposits. Trulieve, they opened their first Ohio dispensary, and they also opened their fourth Georgia dispensary. Both those states are medical only. Tilray launched a new beverage, two new beverages flavors in Canada. Terracin closed on its recently announced fourth and final acquisition in Maryland. Final for now. There's a 4 dispensary cap for adult use there. And finally, Verano opened its third dispensary in Connecticut for adult use with a joint venture, through a joint venture. So, as I said, this week was a round trip. We started off a little higher than we ended, but we were up a lot during the week. You can look at the chart and see that. And Thursday, we were off a little on Wednesday, but Thursday, the stock soared and we plunged yesterday. We were down, I think, 6% or something like that. For the week, though, the market was down 0.3% to 794 from 796, and the S&P 500 was up 2.4%. And month to date, the S&P 500 is up 1.2%, and the index, the Global Cannabis Stock Index, is up 5.9%. So we are on track to have our first up month since January. And remember, it was a long time. Every single month was down. So year to date, the S&P 500 is up 17.3%, which blows me away, but that's not the topic of our conversation. But we are down 18.2%. That's a 35.5 point spread between the S&P 500 and the Global Cannabis Stock Index. I run 2 model portfolios, and they are updated. I will say this was a good week after a bad week, and it's a rough year for me, and I'm not used to that. I'm really happy with my current model portfolios, but they're not doing well up until now. They did well this past week, though. The Global Cannabis Stock Index was up 1.2% this week. That's a 1.5 better than the market. And then the American Cannabis Operator Index was up 2.2%, and that index was down 0.5%. So that was a 2.7%. I still have room to go. And the calendar, it's been empty Oh, well, last week I told you Organigram was going to come out. That was a Friday after the close news release. This coming week, Avant Brands, you don't know that one? No? It doesn't matter. I know it, but I don't care. They're coming out with a call on Tuesday during trading. And Friday, I will be writing this at New Cannabis Ventures, but StatsCan is going to release its Canadian retail sales for the month of May, which include the cannabis retail sales. And that's it. You can refer to the linked blog that's in the summary of this video to find out a lot more information, including what we wrote at New Cannabis Ventures. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.